Hello, this is Martin Leifeld with another video in the 5 Minute for Fundraising series. And what I'd like to focus on in this discussion, this video, is fundraising environments. The fundraising environment of our organizations, of an organization. So what I'm suggesting here is that fundraisers face similar responsibilities in the sense that they need to go out, pursue funding in various different ways, from mail to email to telephone to interpersonal, face-to-face encounters and so on. We may do that in the context of very, very different environments, sometimes vastly different. Imagine, if you would, for a moment, as far as one can see, these clearly marked acres of land, standing and working in each acre as a farmer. The farmer is adequately clothed, has all the tools at hand, has planted seed that is just doing marvelously growing. They have the equipment they need, the sun shines kindly, the rains come as necessary, and each year they have marvelous harvests as they work acre by acre alongside one another. But sometimes there's skirmishes. Why? Because along the border of a given acre, maybe there's some plants that one farmer thinks belongs to them, while the adjoining farmer thinks belongs to them. And they have to work out how to deal with the fruit of that plant or plants. Picture this. Across the valley, the sun is rising. This group of individuals pick up their spears, walk to the mouth of the cave. As the sun begins to shine literally upon the opening of their cave, they survey the horizon, the vast terrain, and off they run with their spears, hoping that one or more of them catch something so they can bring it back to the cave that night, so that they and those that they left behind can have something to eat. Each day vastly different from the next. And each example vastly different from the other. Now granted, a primitive society, an agrarian society, very different analogies. They're both providing for others with their activities. And yet, what the nature of their environment is has everything to do with their ability to do so. You think about the large, mature university with hundreds, perhaps 500, many more, with clearly assigned prospects and donors. Many of those donors who have been worked with for decades, who have been faithful donors for years and years. There's a certain predictability for a position like that. Lots of opportunity within a large organization to grow one's career step by step, with lots and lots of available mentors ready to hand. And then you come down to the less mature organization, maybe with one fundraiser, maybe with a couple, maybe a very small set of donors, lots of opportunities, but where to begin? Those two environments in which a fundraiser works are exceedingly different. Then there's leadership. How wise, how knowledgeable is the leadership of the organization about fundraising? Do they have realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations? Boards, do the boards have realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations? This can spur the growth and development of fundraising, or can in fact arrest it. So expectations may be more or less realistic, and the more mature operation, probably more realistic. The less mature operation, perhaps maybe less realistic depending upon the leadership. The reception of gifts may be more or less predictable. If you're an organization with a mature annual program that does well, then you go from year to year trying to refine that program, trying to innovate, perhaps increasing the number of volunteers, growing your various your societies and recognition points within those societies. Or you're in a very different place and you're trying to get the first mailing out in order to raise money. Now, in between these kind of two characterizations is a vast set of variables and organizations and fundraisers that operate within them. Now, the pressure points may be different, but there's pressure to produce nonetheless. Those in a mature, larger shop, they will have a very clear, defined set of measurements that will be carefully managed, to which they have to render an account. And that puts pressure in terms of performing at a way that satisfies or certainly hopefully exceeds those for whom you are raising funds. And then you get to the other range of the spectrum where the pressure is just to raise some funds. Or perhaps there's an urgent emergency situation for which to raise funds because there's no predictable or confident sources of funding that can be counted on in season and out of season. I think that understanding the nature of our organization, its purpose and its leadership, its expectation for fundraising, the possibilities for fundraising, our understanding where we fit and how that works helps us to be more successful. And when we're contemplating new positions, new opportunities, certainly salary is important, certainly benefits are important, the culture is something we want to assess. But we should assess both the challenges and opportunities in terms of the fundraising environment too. Now, I think that there's a tremendous amount of movement in our profession among fundraisers from organization to organization. Some of that's necessary and good in order to develop one's career, perhaps bring more money into for your own career and your personal purposes, your family, and so on and so forth. An opportunity to do new jobs. You're young, you want to test out different environments. Do I want to belong in education? Do I want to belong in the arts? Do I want to belong in social services and so on? But also I think there's a lot of movement because we go into jobs naive. We go into jobs without really considering what it is we are getting ourselves into. And we get into the job and we're, 6 months, a year, 2 years, it might take longer. We come to realize this is not the place for me. And perhaps we could have prevented that by considering the environment and the fundraising opportunities and challenges before we accepted the position. So, fundraising opportunities are everywhere. Fundraisers are vastly needed. There's a supply-demand situation here. Fundraisers being in high demand. And so I think there's opportunities for each one of us to better understand the environment within which we work. And if we're looking to make a change, be thoughtful in terms of what next opportunity we accept and embrace. So there's some thoughts for you. I wonder what you think about this topic, what insights you might have to offer. I'd like to hear from you. Please go to our forum at martinleifeld.com. And I thank you very much for viewing and listening today.